It's kicked in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of the transfer show for Anfield Index. We are flying solo today, mainly because Trev's got family things to deal with, so it's just me. I'm your host, Dave Davis, coming to you from a dark Christmas-style feel Edinburgh, but people with a little bit of happier music, shall we say, because let's be honest, everything's been a bit dank, dark and dismal in recent times, but there was a little bit of a entente cordiale between certain people at Anfield. The star player, the head coach. We wanted a little bit of positive news ahead of Brighton, and we got it today. So we're going through, of course, the big story, but other little bits that we've got, because as ever, we're trying to deliver you what we can on the transfer show. And it's probably important to say right now, got to get little bits more of info from, being honest, reliable places, but I'm not sure that's been a good thing recently with all that have been coming out and different parties saying different things and giving different briefings, let's say. But we are where we are right now, and we have a truce. And I've phrased it that way twice now. And you might be saying, well, why are you calling it a truce? Because 5:30 on the schnozzle. And I'm saying that because around 4 o'clock, there was a meeting between important people. Let's put it that way. And the tweets came flying out. And shout out to Lewis Steele for this one, who wouldn't come on the show because he's out with his missus tonight, annoying little sod, but did tweet. Believe talks between Mo Salah and Salah-Slot today were positive. They have shaken hands and the forward is expected to be in the squad to play Brighton on Saturday. Conflict not fully resolved, but a good step. So those were one of the series of tweets, wasn't it? And as he also put, this is not to say the situation is resolved, but representatives of both Salah and the club will hold further talks during the Egyptians' upcoming time at the African Cup of Nations. It's a pause on explosion for now, which is absolutely positive. And I like that comment there, Ollie. I feel like we all need a cuddle. Yeah, I'll send you on that way, my mate. But it is positive. Let's not undersell that. This is our icon, one of our heroes. It is great that he's in the squad. The song will be sung. We will be, all happy about this and even more buzzing for tomorrow. But it is important to say, not being a doom-monger, doom and gloom, but this is a temporary element. And Salah-Slot gave a little bit of a clue into how long this has been going on, because people had almost drawn the timeline, hadn't they, from the Leeds game and been like, the interviews kicked it off. No. We've done a bit of digging on this, and as I say, I'm not sure it's a good thing you can get so much info at the moment, but this was the key bit from Salah-Slot's press conference today, just in case you missed it.
In the last week after the Sunderland game, I think there have been a lot of conversations between his representatives and our representatives and him, between him and me, after the Sunderland game.
Said it twice there, didn't he? After the Sunderland game. This did not start with a shower, having not played against Leeds and walking out the changing room. As Salah-Slot told you, clearly, this has started before. And that is the information that's really started to break out today. And I know I've said it a few times now, but as I mentioned, I'm not sure it's a good thing for Liverpool that a lot of this information is getting to sources. Let's put it that way. But I like what Ollie's put there. Can't wait for the Egyptian King chance, whether it's the last game or not. We must show the love to both of them. But for this situation and digging around it, there's a couple of key things to say to this. We all know about the Salah interview. We don't need me to sort of rewrite history on that. But one of the key things you can get about this is Mo Salah is a headstrong character, and he very much has a strong sense in life, as you can get, the info around what's right or what's wrong. And he doesn't necessarily believe he's done anything wrong in this situation. It's important to say. And you've heard of Salah's representatives. Let's cut the nonsense. We know it's Rami involved. And quite rightly, you'd understand why he would be as Mo Salah's agent. But our info is that Mo Salah and his agent, more than anything, not just Salah-Slot, but were seeking more conversations with Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards. Part of that almost, someone wants me out. And he separated his Salah-Slot comments there, didn't he? At the same time. Now, this is a bit, obviously, the element there. You've heard Salah-Slot and, saying that pressed by Clarence Seedorf a little bit as well, that Salah should be the one to make the first move. You got that, really? You had Virgil afterwards talk as well about, Mo's got a right to say we're not going to tell him what to say or do. So the players, Dominic Szoboszlai talked about his love for him as well. They are not taking sides, if you want, or pushing either way. Which means it really is a truce. And there is no other word to call it than that. And if you're sort of doubting what I'm saying at all, as Paul Joyce has also written in his part as well, this is crucial. So let me just pop that up on the screen for you because the comments are flying in and I am a bad multitasker, so I'll try and keep it all ticking along. It is understood that issues still persist and they will continue to be tackled by the Liverpool hierarchy and Salah's representatives, Rami Abbas, while the player is at AFCON. So that's important to say. We've got a huge positive there. Mo Salah will be in the squad, but we don't want to do fake or toxic positivity here, do we? That it's all resolved. There's still conversations. It just makes it easier now because it's not in the public glare, isn't it? There's not that lens or that heat on it all. Things can happen behind the scenes, but they are going to happen, as a lot of journalists like Lewis Steele and Paul Joyce are writing. I doubt we get anything more, but who knows what will be out in the embargo later. And so Theon, if it's pronounced that right, there's two sides to every story. I hope Salah gave Mo a new role and that Mo accepted it, or they just made a decision to kick the can down the road. And I think most importantly, that's what you're talking about, isn't it, realistically? All the info we've got is, it is a truce. It is an entente cordiale-ish. There is nothing decided yet. All bets aren't off. But there's a game tomorrow and Mo Salah will be in the squad. So we're going to take that as a positive. The only other bit we understand as part of the discussions, and there's nothing wrong with saying this, Mo Salah is a football, but he's a humanitarian and he is also a businessman as well. And Rami is very aware that in the current situation, with Mo Salah in the final years of a heavily incentivized contract that, as we've always known, involves appearances, goals, assists and bits, the earning isn't what it should be in their eyes at the moment, which also plays into it. And that hence relates to the talk we've been told around false promises. There's a lot to still sort with this one, isn't there, people? But a bit more positive there for now, anyway. In terms of other bits, and again, saying info is coming from reliable sources, I'm not always sure that's a good thing, but there is a sense that pressure is currently coming from Salah-Slot from all sides. Of course, the Salah situation, the media lens, you know all about that. But the senior players, and Alisson spoke well in the presser, but if you think Virgil van Dijk, as we mentioned after the game, talked about, won't speak about or against Mo. Same with Dominic Szoboszlai, understandably as well. But little bits, and digging on this, they are starting to come out about relationships and dealings with players. And this is an important one to put on the docket, people. Theo Squires, shout out to him, did an article around that with the quotes that Jarell Quansah defended Mo Salah, but refused to be drawn on his relationship with Salah-Slot. And in the interview said, when asked about it, it's not about what I was doing last year and what was happening. I'm totally focused on what I'm doing now. And if you saw this interview with Jarell Quansah, he had a bit of a smile while he said it. I don't need to speak about my relationship with other managers. It's about what I'm doing here at Leverkusen now. And the task at hand is more important. Now, you can understand why Arne-Slot's not going to be Jarell Quansah's biggest fan, or vice versa, because of the situation and what happened, the comments, and either way. But digging a bit on this, ladies and gents, our info is that it's been fed back, let's call it that, to Arne-Slot about the way to speak to players. And there's a few no longer at Anfield, but you can include Jarell Quansah on that. But the likes of Queeve and Kelleher, Kostas Tsimikas, even the sort of the comments of against Ibu Konate and saying at the scene of the crime have just raised eyebrows, rightly or wrongly. I mean, I think it's true, but sometimes it's what you say to the press, isn't it, as well? So that's come onto it for Arne-Slot. Obviously, the Clarence Seedorf would open the door. He kind of rallied against that a little bit as well. And the other little bit is digging on this, that it's a weird one, this, because I don't really talk about formations and bits too much, but it is important to. There's not always a sense of agreement in the diamond and what's being operated for Liverpool at the moment. It very much feels that it's survival mode for Arne-Slot as opposed to this is the way forward. Because I know there's a feeling from some, and you might not be in that camp, that the diamond is great, it suits everyone. That's not the info we're getting from all in the club. And the analyst side have got big question marks against this diamond, namely the demands it puts on certain players, especially those two wide midfielders. And if you think of, there was a Bosley on the right, Curtis Jones on the left, you saw the running stats from them. You saw the ground that Alexis McAllister had to cover in the San Siro, 12K. Hugo Ekitike not far off as well. Him and Isak were doing shuttle runs, weren't they, almost in the San Siro? So the info is there that the diamond is a temporary fix. It's definitely not forever. So all that considered, there's a lot of pressure coming on Arne-Slot right now, isn't there? No two ways about it from all sides, be it internally, externally. And obviously he does answer to Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards, if you want to draw that higher up the chain. And pressure never helps why the spotlight's shining elsewhere. Because this is the one we're just a little bit unsure about. We've mentioned Cesc Fabregas before on the transfer show. I don't need to go through all that again. But the Xabi Alonso situation. If Real Madrid doesn't beat Alaves, as it says, and these are the stories out of Madrid, he'll be fired. If they win, then fail to beat Talavera, he'll be fired. If they win both games, then fail to beat Sevilla, he will be fired. Basically, it's all laid out. And the thing about Real Madrid, you know that's 99.9% true because they're one of those clubs that will just spell it out that way. There was even suggestions he could go after the City defeat or if they lost to City. So that comes into the mix as well. The honest one about the Alonso situation and digging around that, got nada. Not even going to pretend to you. This is just, we can all speculate on this. Would Xavi take another job straight away? Would Xabi Alonso be offered it by Liverpool? Would they think maybe an interim and then him at the end of the season? It's all on the table that way a little bit, isn't it? But if Xabi Alonso, as you know, Pat Stewart's husband will tell you, if Xabi Alonso loses his job in the near future, you're telling me there's not going to be links? You're telling me the stories are not going to intensify? They are going to go through the roof, aren't they? Some managers' bits are still on the table. It's all on the table, isn't it, realistically? Two bits that we didn't like as well. And I'm not sure Unai Emery did the right thing here, but me and Trev are going to talk about this a little bit. Two might be coming back, and they might be limited as to what we can do. Unai Emery said this, didn't he, after, or just before the Villa game, that hopefully we can get a solution around Harvey Elliott for him to try and play consistently, to continue in his career with us or not. He is on loan here, but not definitely adding to us with a permanent contract. And of course, now all the stories have come out that Villa are not going to sign him, even though it's only a 10 game to trigger it. So there's a huge just bit of limbo now, unfortunately, for Harvey. And because of FIFA rules, he can't play for a third club in a season, can he? He's had those two clubs, hasn't he? Liverpool and Villa. And I see this, and again, doing a bit of asking on this today, because I know people have said, no, he can come back. He can be the Verts understudy there. He can help and be part of that diamond. So, doing the digging on that, no chance. On the slot for our info has no interest in, say, reintegrating, if you want to call it that, Harvey Elliott into the squad. There was a reason that he was sold, or the deal was made alone with an obligation, conditional obligation, at the time. So it's just a bit of a nightmare for his career that way. And then the other one around this is James McConnell, who got this a little bit today as well, people, that unfortunately it's not gone brilliant for Vítězslav Jaras, who started but on the bench more since Heitinga went, and it's really not going well for James McConnell at Ajax. And in fact, all the suggestions are that we got today, Ajax, similarly, a bit to Villa, may well be looking to send him back to Anfield, which then brings another situation that what are Liverpool going to do with him? Although, for our understanding, James McConnell can still move on or get another club, unlike Harvey Elliott, but we will have to see what happens there. Just a bit messy, this one. Now, wingers are on the docket. I'm going to mention a few and important and getting different bits and almost reiterating a few recent stories as well. But this is a name that is red hot for a reason. Jan Diomande. For the American school system, absolutely flying, isn't he, at the moment at Red Bull Leipzig? Scored a hat-trick the other weekend. And Florian Plettenberg, via Philip Heinze, tweeted earlier that top clubs from England, it says in their sites, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, City, and many more, all watching him. But as it says, contrary to other reports, there are no concrete or advanced talks with any clubs. He's got a contract till 2030 with no release clause. Check this. A move after the World Cup is possible. Leipzig are considering a fee of €100 million for an incredible talent, as is tweeted there. You're going to see more of this, and I don't know how to play this without being too obvious. Trust me, agents talk a lot, as we said on the last show, and agents are quite happy for certain things to be out there quite often because it helps their clients and builds a bit of PR, as it were. Although PR can be a touchy subject on the Liverpool side, can't it? But anyway, Liverpool have got zero interest in this player for January, is our info. However, in the summer, for another 6 months down the line, absolutely is a player that they've watched as well. But chances of Diomande coming in January, told absolutely non-existent pretty much. So a lot coming out there, aren't they? Asked there as well, any links for the DM position with anyone? And we checked this again today. Still that Liverpool are keeping an eye on Ederson. He is seen as possibly an opportunity in that bracket. However, a lot does depend on, as we mentioned before, shipping a non-homegrown player out. So Endo's naturally one to watch there. There is interest in Endo from a number of clubs. He's injured at the moment, of course. So we'll have to see on that one, but nothing sort of red hot concrete. Insert your adjective as applicable. So that's one winger to talk about. Second winger to talk about, this name keeps coming up time and time again, doesn't it? And shout out to Sammy Mockbull, who wrote about it as well yesterday. Antoine Semenyo's future will come into focus next month. And look at the factors that may determine the Bournemouth attacker's future, as it says, with City, Liverpool, and Spurs among those interested. Yeah, it's a funny one with Semenyo, isn't it? Because we've had David Lynch on Media Matters mentioned many times that, from his info, it does suit almost Bournemouth. They're almost trying to drive this a little bit, but there could be interest. And our info, again, sort of checking into it today is, Liverpool have spoken to Semenyo's representatives. No one really needs to speak to Bournemouth, do they? Everyone knows the release clause. David Ornstein spilled it all, didn't he? It's for those first few days of January. You know what it is. You know it goes down in the summer. So with the greatest respect, you don't need to speak to Bournemouth on that. It's the player's side, isn't it? The only thing I don't like at the moment is, and I saw people putting this, we need to assess Antoine Semenyo if he does arrive at Anfield on his own merits. And there's pros and cons, which we've been through many a time. The big thing to avoid saying, though, is it's not if it happens, and it sounds like sacrilege almost, Salah out, Semenyo in. That's not how we should be looking at it. It's in terms of what's the benefit to the squad. I think we've got to almost isolate the whole Mo Salah situation a little bit differently. But, yeah, our info again digging today. There is still real interest there in Antoine Semenyo for Liverpool. And started it with the truce, and we've got to keep that sort of theme going throughout, people. This is crucial to say that even digging today, and as people are putting out the truce, because Mike McGrath and others had it, didn't they, that Saudi clubs will do whatever it takes to sign the Liverpool forward. Several Saudi Premier League teams are looking at this deal. Yeah, that's part of, as we understand it, the talks between Rami and the Liverpool hierarchy, that the Saudi clubs are there. The Saudi clubs are on full alert, whatever you want to call it, that if this cannot be resolved between Mo Salah and Liverpool, that they are absolutely ready to, pay the piper, as it were. And I've seen different bits around, it might be a reduced fee, not down fee. Our info is from chasing it up today. No, they are there. They are ready. This is still an option on the table. And it's important to say that because maybe until the January window shuts with Mo being away at AFCON, this, whether we like it or not, will just rumble on and on and on. And that's why all the reporting is there, people. Rami, Hughes, everyone, the talks are still to take place, which then brings you a little bit, again, getting this from digging today, that I like saying this, but thinking of the Hughes and Edwards angle, as we were told, and objectively, because there's no sentimentality with these guys at all. They're not looking at a hero, an Egyptian king like we are. They're looking at the value, the return on it. And a player that they will see who's on huge wages, getting a fee, getting him off the books from their angle, you have to put that into the mix. As bad as it sounds, almost saying it out loud, is trying to see it from their perspective as well. Probably moving away from the disarray at that sense as well. It's all still up in the air. And the other thing as well, again, that was mentioned to us today, that with the Mo Salah situation, if he were to go and the Saudis were to make that move, it frees up a non-homegrown spot. It frees up wages and obviously moves that can be made. It could just completely change the January transfer window for Liverpool. It's just all a little bit of a mess, isn't it, realistically? In terms of other little bits that we got today at the same time, there's a bit of a French double, as we put it. And to be honest, I had to check the names because I hadn't really heard of some of these. But digging on it a bit, Liverpool scouts are in France Saturday and Sunday. They will be, I think it's pronounced Rosanne Park, and they will be at, and this is, you can see I'm not a natural French speaker, you probably guessed that, and at Lyon on Sunday. They will be at the Rennes game on Saturday, and you can probably guess who they're watching. We're assuming a little bit of Jeremy Jacquet there. Or maybe they just like a little bit of Brest on the weekend. That's not a sexist joke. Rennes are playing Brest before anyone jumps at me for that. Now, the second game on Sunday is Lyon, that they'll be there. I don't think they're watching Lyon for a Tyler Morton return. I don't genuinely know who Lyon are playing on Sunday. I've not got that information, but the only name I'm sort of getting, and I don't know, again, you're thinking back, and again, people talk pathways, wingers, put Cody Gakpo's injury and stuff. Malik Fofana is probably one to keep an eye on there. Just being honest, do I definitely know it's Malik Fofana? No, but that's the info we've got. Liverpool scouts who are doing a double in France. Saturday, they're at the Rennes game against Brest. Sunday, they're at Lyon, whoever it is they're playing. So Liverpool scouts are doing a French double. So there's that. And the only other real bit I got is, and again, chasing me and Trev as we do, has sort of everyone's harassing and haranguing everyone a little bit at the moment. The name Joel Ordonez, I think it's pronounced, has been mentioned quite a little bit. The Club Brugge centre-half, the ones that, again, he's been watched, but there's nothing really progressing on that with Liverpool at the moment. That for the different players they've been watching, he is most certainly not top of the tree, is the info we've got. A lot going on, isn't it? An awful lot going on. So just in case, because there's people in the chat panel which are kind of making me laugh a little bit, just in case you have missed the headlines or the top info there, people, we are in a truce. That's important to say. As the stories came out at 5:30 today, Mo Salah will, this is good news, will be in the squad against Brighton. Absolutely brilliant news. But it's temporary. We have to say that. As Lewis Steele and Paul Joyce are reporting, have agreed to sort of be cordial, be civil, as it were, for now. But as both have reported as well, this is a truce for now. Further talks are going to take place with Liverpool representatives. We know it's going to be Hughes, Edwards, etc., and Rami Abbas, Mo's agent. So it's important to say that this is a truce. This is nothing confirmed on a permanent basis. But Mo's in the squad, so just be happy about that for now. Other bits we said we got, because again, if people just joined late and missed all this, but you know, it is coming on pressure from Salah-Slot from within his internal population in his team, talking about the diamond and the suitability, the longevity of that. He's under pressure there. The Xabi Alonso stories, the Cesc Fabregas bits, there is pressure externally that way as well. Also, as we said, that feedback that's been given around the way you interact with players, and names mentioned like Kelleher, Simicast, Kwanzaa, who's spoken about it as well, Kanate and that scene of the crime comment, that doesn't always go down with players who have huge egos. Nothing wrong with saying that. They're elite footballers. But yeah, so there's pressure coming that way. Other bits, as we're asking there, they're not looking good for Harvey Elliott and his future career at all. To think at the start of the summer, Harvey Elliott had visions of how he would get into England's World Cup squad. Now look at where it sits for Harvey Elliott. Can't play for another club either, can he, as well? So he stays at Villa, which he's not going to. Long term anyway. Or comes back to us, and again, chasing that, people. Checking, you know, there's no redemption arc, Marvel style, for Harvey Elliott. Not in remotely part of Salah-Slot's plans. Yan Diomande, ignore all the January talk. We mentioned that. Liverpool are watching him. They are watching him and they like him for the summer, but they don't want €100 million like him, despite what the reports that, let's just say, German clubs will quite happily like to be out there. Antoine Semenyo, Sammy Mockbull and others have wrote about it. We chased about this as well. Yeah, absolutely one that we're being told Liverpool are looking at in January. Important to say, though, it's not a Salah out, Semenyo in. It's not being looked at that way. This is one that was being looked at well before that. So let's not put any unfair pressure on Antoine Semenyo if this does unfold in that sense. Second bits as well, I think it's important to say this. Again, it's a temporary truce. There's still a possibility for our info that Mo Salah could leave Liverpool in January, as bad as that sounds. The Saudis, our info are right in there, are ready to pay what it takes. Yeah? Happy to make that move. I've seen even ridiculous rumours about, they're short, they were utter nonsense. That's why part of the negotiations are still going on, and the can has just been kicked down the road. It's now Rami and Edwards and Hughes to sort, isn't it? And then the final bit, because if you just asked a question on that in the chat panel, scouts, a French double again. Liverpool will have scouts at the Rennes game against Brest. Jeremy Jacquet may well be on the agenda. and they will have scouts at the Lyon game on Sunday. Again, I don't know which player that is because if you had Georgian forwards, whoever you pronounce, I have no idea who those are. I'm not going to pretend, but they will have scouts there. The only name I could really draw or guess is Malik Fofana back on the agenda. What a day, eh? What a week. Let's just hope it's a big weekend tomorrow. What could possibly be better than going 2 in a week, beating Brighton, Mo Salah coming on and scoring the winner? How amazing would that be before AFCON? He's not going to start tomorrow, but if he goes off the bench, you know the reaction. I'm going to be in that stadium, so I won't be doing Daily Red tomorrow. I'm just looking forward to this more than anything. There's a Mo Salah truce. Liverpool and Salah-Slot, one side. Mo and his agent, we have shaken hands for now. Well, you know we're going to be talking about this again before January unfolds. But until then, there's a game to be won on Saturday. There will be an embargo, we're told, tonight, about 10:30. I don't know what's in it. I suspect it's not going to be this by any means. But enjoy your Friday nights, people, with a bit of a good news there. Because on Friday, the 12th of December, that was a transfer show special for Anfield Index.